Okay, so they did another Planet of the Apes prequel, and it was pretty good, and pretty much everybody liked it, which means that in a few months, the American film industry will once again set out to have what's become one of its most surprisingly persistent and contentious arguments of the last decade or so. Should Andy Serkis be nominated for a Best Actor Oscar for his motion capture performance as Caesar? This is one of those topics that A, requires almost immediate descent into nuance and parsing of terminology, and B, where people tend to not actually watch the whole fucking video because they want to jump down to the comments and respond just to the initial question, so I should probably state the important part right up front. Andy Serkis absolutely 100% deserves an Academy Award for his performance, and in particular in recognition of how much he's revolutionized and legitimized this new form of screen acting, and he should get one by whatever is the best available course, and if that means nominating him like you would for a traditional performance, let's do that. If it means something else, well, that's a lot of the discussion. Now let's be clear about one thing. The people in charge of the Oscars would love for this to happen. Not necessarily the majority membership of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, but the people in charge of maintaining the organization, coordinating with ABC, and putting on the show, without question. If it was up to only them, this would have already happened. It's a huge series that everybody has seen and mostly seems to like. It'd be a huge controversy, we'll talk about why in a minute, which would drive ratings, i.e. propel people to tune in and see what happens, and you'd have to assume that even if most viewers were hoping for someone else to win, most of the audience would be on the yes side of the nomination fight, because these movies are very popular and people know how they do the effects, and the general public has largely accepted the idea of performance capture as digital makeup. Except it's not exactly that, and well, that's where the troublesome nuance comes in. Here's the thing, the people most interested in seeing what would be the historic landmark moment of Andy Serkis getting the first Best Actor Oscar for a performance-captured character, apart from one assumes Andy Serkis himself, are the filmmakers and studio executives behind those Apes movies, who know that marveling at the technological miracle of the ape character's creation is a huge part of what drives the continued interest in the franchise. That's why the general public has been so enthusiastically educated about how it's done, but also why that education has been highly simplified. Ask most people outside the film and/or animation and effects industries how performance capture is done, and they'll probably tell you that an actor puts on high-tech pajamas and face dots, gets plugged into a bunch of computers, and then whenever they do, the digital character does. And that's not exactly how it works. Both motion capture and performance capture, motion capture usually referring to broad body movements, performance capture to more nuanced movements usually related to facial expressions, does map actor movements to a digital skeleton, but rendering and animators later add mass, muscle, fur, and the not quite 100% human analogous parts to it. So it's not really a direct one-to-one live-action animation conversion, so much as it's an ultra-sophisticated way of recording the most detailed and complete form of reference material ever possible for animators to build the character from. In other words, the performance of characters like Caesar and Gollum do pass through multiple levels of tweaks and decision-making before making it to final form, so a performance-captured actor is not technically the sole author of the final performance. Now, on the one hand, so what? This is new technology, there isn't a precedent for how to count acting like this, and as such, there isn't technically anything about a performance being augmented in some way through post-production in the rules of most acting awards. After all, if there were, we would have heard about it in regard to actors whose memorable performances were aided by makeup, special lighting, camera placement, or even the editors combining the best parts of multiple takes to create a single great sequence. So why wouldn't this be the same thing? On the other hand, just because there aren't rules, because something didn't exist yet, doesn't mean there aren't standards, traditions, and, well, gatekeepers. And while unions like the Screen Actors Guild have been pretty clear that performance capture acting is acting by their industry standard definition, a lot of working actors are very uncomfortable about various types of digitally augmented performance becoming prevalent in the industry. And the fact that members of the acting wing of the Academy are the only people who vote on the Best Actor and Actress categories, combined with the widely believed dislike and/or mistrust of legitimizing performance capture among said membership, is thought to be the reason that Serkis Turner Caesar hasn't been nominated yet, and isn't likely to be nominated this year. See, the acting profession, especially film acting and especially in Hollywood, is famously paranoid about any sort of new technology that could potentially replace or devalue financially their contribution. And ever since computer animation began getting closer to photorealism, this has become supercharged. Back in 2002, New Line Cinema released a sci-fi showbiz satire called Simone. Don't feel bad, it wasn't good, hardly anyone saw it, no one remembers it, featuring Al Pacino as a director who secretly uses a computer-generated virtual actress as the lead in his new movie and gets smothered by his own deception when the non-existent Simone becomes the most beloved movie star on the planet. Oops. Originally, this was going to be accomplished by using an actual photorealistic, or circa 2002 version thereof, CGI character as the hook of the film, i.e. wow, this could actually happen, see? But public protest by actors and actors' unions demanding that studios preemptively commit to not using such virtual actors for normal human roles scuttled the plan entirely. Instead, they used a then-unknown model actress Rachel Roberts and didn't credit her. Now, sure, that's not exactly what we're talking about in this scenario, but on another hand, it's not totally removed. The prospect of an actor who might have exactly the right look for a part being skipped over anyway in favor of a CGI model of that same look being motion captured by a different, probably less expensive actor isn't really that unbelievable anymore. So whether or not it should be affecting this actual decision, you can't really say skittish Academy member actors are being completely irrational about their fears, especially when there's been a general precedent of not nominating performances involving special effects heavy makeup that had incorporated remote-controlled mechanical components. I don't really agree with that either, but it's precedent all the same. You can predict how they're going to act about this. So there's a lot of argument on multiple sides of this is what it comes down to. Ultimately, I imagine if this happens at all, it'll probably come in the form of a special recognition Oscar, but the Academy is going to have to deal with the issue more definitively at some point, and to my mind, the fairest way to go about it would be to establish an entirely new category specifically for effects-assisted acting, best collaborative performance maybe, to be awarded to both the actor and the effects person most responsible for the final animation, in much the same way that producers tend to get multiple Oscars for working on the same film. But, like I said up front, if the closest available solution for this year is to nominate Andy Serkis for Best Actor and then figure out a separate category going forward, let's do that. It's going to happen eventually, and if you've seen those movies, you know he definitely goddamn deserves it. Hey gang, here's a question that keeps coming up. If your handle is moviebob, where are your movie reviews? Well, my old reviews are in a lot of places. You'll find many of them on my YouTube channel, but you'll find the brand new ones on Geek.com, an awesome site that's also your one-stop news source for science, TV, gaming, technology, nerd culture, the works. You can find all my reviews directly by going to geek.com/author/bchipman, because that's my real name, and you can get regular updates on all my reviews and all of Geek.com's other great content by signing up for their kick-ass newsletter at subscribe.geek.com. And don't forget to also subscribe to the Geek.com YouTube channel, where you'll find the videos that accompany my reviews and tons of other great content too. Remember, that's Geek.com, the Geek.com newsletter, and Geek.com on YouTube. Make sure you don't miss out on all the latest MovieBob reviews. You can also check out my own new website, MovieBob Central, where you'll find my blog, links to all my work, and shop for my books, ebooks, and future MovieBob products. And please remember to like these videos, share them with all of your friends, and subscribe to this channel. Thank you for watching another MovieBob production.